So, doctor, can you tell me who you are and a little bit about your background?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. Uh, my name is Dr. Hatem Goucha. I'm executive coach based out of Abu Dhabi. I am 57 years old. I'm married. I have three children, and I have done a major career pivot 3 years ago from being a project manager in the oil and gas industry to being an executive coach. And that pivot is because I found out this is my dream.
Hmm.
So that's a bit about me.
And then you decided to write a book. What
Yes,
is your book about?
my book is about how each person can know themselves better, understand what moves them, what triggers them, what motivates them better, and uh, become the person that they're most designed, meant to be. In other words, become that which they have maybe put to the side or have not given the full energy to.
Okay. What would you say? I'm always doing a kind of a short introduction where if someone leaves the podcast earlier before they listen or get done, so we try to get through some major points. What would you say are the key takeaways from the book you wrote?
Very good question. Uh, the key takeaway is that by reading the book and
Hmm.
by using the tools in the book, you will walk away knowing yourself better
Hmm.
and having a better idea of what it is that you are on this planet here to do.
That sounds lovely. Is there? Well, I do get this is not science fiction. So, is there? Do you have any conclusions in this book?
Yes, let's say two
Yeah.
conclusions.
Yes.
One is that going through the process
Hmm.
is easier than people make it out to be.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
The second conclusion is that when you finish this book, you will realize there's some energy, some force, some talent inside of you
Hmm.
that is probably untapped. And you owe it to the world.
Yeah.
Tap into that energy to bring us, to bring you, to bring me that which is a unique contribution from you.
And if some listeners now have to run to the bathroom or do anything, if there's one thing that you want them to know about this book, what would that be?
Mm.
It's a tough one.
Yes, it is. It is because there's so much in it.
Hmm.
I would say that first of all, I would say that it's an easy read
Hmm.
based on what people have told me.
Yeah.
I have had like more than 500 people read it and give me feedback already. It's an easy read and they can't put it down. So trust that this book will do you good and pick it up and read it, and it will trigger inside of you or wake up inside of you things that you did not know existed.
That's that's interesting. So people, you do know what we are going to be talking about today.
Yep.
This is a show where we try to figure out how to become better versions of ourselves, and to do that, we need to talk to people who have literally walked the path and open up doors and done the research to see how that happens. And this is why me and Dr. Hatim is talking today. Doctor, you embarked on this journey at some point. What would you say was the best part for you of writing this book?
Writing the book was a lot of hard work.
Mm,
And because it was a lot of hard work, it has changed me.
yeah.
The best part about writing this book was actually writing it and organizing my thoughts, making a lot of realizations myself
Mm,
about certain connections, about things that I hadn't even seen before.
yeah.
So the best part about writing it is I was able to reverse engineer what happened, how I felt about it, and it gave me tremendous insight inside of me, even while writing it.
Mm. Um, what did you learn when you wrote this book? And let's get down to what you're writing about. What was the
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the book is the lessons from my journey,
Mm,
and it's more than that because it actually because I reverse engineered my journey from being a project manager to becoming a coach to moving from one continent to the other. Um, to starting from zero and to build things up as a coach here, as a coaching business. The This journey had a lot of lessons in it, and I was able to reverse engineer and figure out what those lessons were.
mm,
This book is about telling how I progressed from one stage to the next in the
mm,
transformation. It talks about what are the things that happened, what they meant for me, and how they figured in the big picture of how I became who I am now.
mm,
It goes without saying, I feel, of course, that having gone through all the steps, that I am in the place where I need to be. I am the person I am meant to be. I'm using the capabilities inside of me to their best.
yeah.
So I'm walking the talk of the book, if you will. And everything that you go through in the book, the various stages of understanding and mastering imposter syndrome, developing deep self-awareness of yourself, understanding your life purpose through my golden thread approach,
Mm,
understanding the signposts that are in front of you in life and how to act on them. Making tough decisions is a very important chapter in my book, and how to use coaching and mentoring for that. Once you do those, you go through
yeah.
those 5 chapters, we're down to 2 chapters that are the reward of everything that this book is about. And one is you experience synchronicities and you increase resilience through setbacks. That's chapter 6.
Mm,
And then the final chapter, the best chapter in my mind, you reach a state of flow and you reach contentment every minute you spend in your life. And you do so in service to others.
can you walk?
That to me is the reward of the book.
Thank you. Can you walk me and the listeners through the golden thread?
Yeah, absolutely. So the golden thread is one way
Mm,
that worked for me um, to understand what your life purpose is. I also mentioned another way, Ikigai, which is well known, but and you can do a test and it's free, and I also talk about that because I've done it and it was very good. But what worked for me and what I believe will work for most people is the golden thread, which is also on the cover of the book. If you see the book,
oh, yeah,
this is the golden thread right there.
yeah. For
Uh, for those people who are only listening to this, it's on the cover
yeah.
with a black background, and at the end of it is the light, which shows that you now found something that actually you resonate with, and your light becomes brighter. Um, it is the process of going back to in remembering your childhood moments.
Mm.
And this should not be hard to do, because I'm asking people to go back and remember their age. I don't know, 10, 11, 12, depends on the person. The important moments where you realize things you can do, that you're not just a kid in the house, but there are things you do when you play. There are things you do with animals, or things you do with wood, or climbing, or tinkering. And it starts at that young age, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if the golden thread asks you to go back and try to remember, what are those things that you did, those activities that you engaged in, could be storytelling or walking or hiking or anything that you did very, very well, you remember very clearly, and you derived tremendous pleasure from doing them. Not only
Mm.
that, but you did them effortlessly.
Yeah. Okay.
Once you
Yeah.
find a thread, one of those, and you could have more than one golden
Okay.
thread, by the
Yeah.
way, but once you find one, then you start like pulling on that thread, and you just say, okay, what did I do at age 16, 17 when I was finishing high school? Did I drop that activity? Did I stop doing it, or did I continue doing it? Did I find another way of doing the same thing? And so on and on. You go to university and say, what did I do in university that serves that, whether it's tinkering or writing poetry or hiking or animals, whatever it is. And you just keep going. You follow that thread all the way to today. And you try to remember, and you journal all this, and you try to remember events or instances or sometimes feelings where you felt strange because you weren't producing, creating anymore, for example. It could be that that thing you were doing was the only thing in your life that you did to create. And you realize that sometime in your life and you felt uneasy because you were not creating. Everything that I just said, then you read
Mm.
back your journal. And whatever you wrote of that golden thread becomes the hint, the suggestion to you that this is something that you're designed to be doing.
Yeah.
Crocheting or running or biking or whatever. And you need to realize that, become aware of that you either dropped it or you kept it going in some way, and then revive it in the best way that you can. And that process of reviving it through a hobby or through joining a club or whatever it is the beginning of the development of your life purpose. Because my argument, my belief is that that golden thread, that activity, that
Mm.
thing that you do very well is part, maybe not all, but it is part of what your life purpose is.
Well, it makes sense. Obviously, that is some powerful advice. I think a lot of people should do that. You also touched up on the imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Is that something you can elaborate a little bit
Yeah,
around? Yeah.
absolutely. It's my first chapter in the book. It's
Mm.
called Recognizing the Imposter Syndrome. And and it's not everybody has it, okay? So but I'm
Yeah. But,
arguing that most people who are have any form of success have it.
mm.
Okay, they may not know it, but they have it. The only people who have success and don't have it are the people who became aware of it. So the first
Yeah.
thing is actually the chapter one is called awareness of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And it's the chapter just tells you you need to become aware that there is a voice inside of your head. We all know there's a voice, but there's this particular one that warns you that you are getting into a territory in whatever you're doing, whatever task you've been assigned, whatever vacation you're doing, and that warns you that you're at the edge of your knowledge, and
Mm.
now you are likely to fail because you don't master that. So
Yeah.
it tries to keep you in your comfort zone, this voice, because it's trying to keep you safe. It's trying to keep you from failing and being laughed at, right? So that's the imposter syndrome. It just comes to people who are constantly trying to do more. And every time they try to do more and expand their comfort zone, this voice comes in and says, no, 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 you can't do it. You're going to fail. Watch out. Um, and the more successful you become, despite this voice, the more this voice will say, oh, you've been lucky so far.
Mm.
And now you're going to be discovered. And that's the imposter syndrome. It's really the inside voice that tells you you're lucky, you're not qualified, just don't take any more chances, stick with what you know.
So how do the golden thread and the imposter syndrome play together? I have a feeling where this answer might go, but please, you,
So we need to add the other element, which
yeah,
is self-awareness.
yeah.
Self-awareness. So chapter 1 is awareness of imposter syndrome, chapter 2 is self-awareness, and chapter 3 is finding your life purpose using the golden thread. The golden thread is connected to the imposter syndrome because if you don't become aware of the imposter syndrome, if you allow the imposter syndrome to block you and to keep you from taking risks, then chances are you will not be able to find your life purpose because this voice is always trying to keep you below what you could be doing,
Mm. Keep you
right?
from
That's a
learning.
connection. But in between is the self-awareness. And self-awareness is hard to do until you master the imposter syndrome. Once you are aware and you understand what the imposter syndrome is trying to do, then you can engage into chapter 2, which is self-awareness, with a lot of questions, a lot of tools on how to increase your self-awareness. And self-awareness is then necessary for life purpose. So self-awareness is is more than just knowing your strengths and weaknesses. Self-awareness is understanding what makes you happy, what makes you upset, what triggers you, what makes you want to work, what makes you lazy, what makes you procrastinate. It's knowing all the inner workings of yourself, the little voices that tell you to go or tell you to stop. You need to know what is causing all of this. The environment usually has a big role in this. So you need to become aware of what happens and what it does to you and what is the outcome of that. The more you understand this dynamic, the more self aware you are.
Can I rightfully assume that imposter syndrome is quite common? From my background, from learning as well, it kind of plays into it because you said learning always requires you to do something new. That's kind of the definition on learning.
Yes,
So you
exactly.
kind of
Yes.
it's that voice all the time. You have to push, and nobody really likes to learn. Everyone prefers to do what they did yesterday because if they
Yeah.
can do what they did yesterday,
It's
it
easiest,
worked.
least
It
effort.
worked yesterday. What can it work today? Okay. For several of our listeners who are young professionals or middle-aged professionals up and about, reviving careers and taking the next step, can this? I get the sense that reading your book will also help them understand other people and their desires. And as I said, if you can recognize that your colleague or someone probably also suffers from imposter syndrome, at least to some extent, that can explain some of their behavior as well.
Yes. Yes. First of all, I'd say that your audience is probably the most appropriate for my book
Hmm.
because they are successful already and they're looking for more. They're in that phase, what Carl Jung calls the second half of life. So typically they have gone through a lot of trials and ventures and ideas, and they got to a place where they think, all my experience so far is going to help me now do this.
Hmm.
That's perfect for this book because it is the most needed time to realize who you truly are. because in
Yeah.
order for this new venture, this new enterprise to succeed, this new idea, you really need to know yourself very well. Because if you don't, if you still have blind spots, they may come back and do the same trick they did on you 2 or 3 or 10 years ago.
Mm.
So if anything, just a self-awareness chapter in this book is worth its weight in gold.
I
Um,
believe you. Yeah.
yeah, and it's written. By the way, it's written for. So I'm an engineer. I have a PhD. I'm an analytical guy. I love science. I love research methodology, and it's written with that in mind. It's written
Yeah.
for people like me
Yeah.
who are very analytical, who like logical things, who like organized lists, like engineers.
I can hear that in the way you
Yeah,
structure the book. Is okay.
yeah. So I
How how
structured it.
how 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 can I develop
I even
myself?
called it. I
Yeah.
reverse engineered
Yeah.
what happened.
You
Yeah,
actually start with, because you said, okay, if I want to be a better version of myself, I'm gonna go back and see where I had the most success, took the least effort, and was the happiest.
exactly.
Okay,
It's very
that, that,
structured,
that, that,
very
that,
easy
that-
to.
that's a
Yeah,
that's a nice way to start.
yeah,
I
yeah.
get that.
Exactly.
Um, we were not gonna give away all of the books, so how have people? You said 500 people have read it.
Yes.
How have they reacted? What's the feedback?
I'm very pleased to say all the reactions, all the reviews, all the
Mhm.
messages I received are extremely, extremely positive.
Mhm.
Can I read to you one really in particular that struck me? Very short, a couple of sentences. I just finished the book. This person is also middle aged. She read it overnight. You can read the book in 3 to 4 hours, by the
Yeah.
way. It's easy to read. She said, I just finished the book and it is extremely well written. I truly find it incredible and have discovered so much about myself. Over the years, I have read so many of these books, but not one like this. I will always keep this book close because I want to be able to refer to it often.
That's lovely. So walk me through the process. How do I become a better version of myself?
Yeah, well, we've covered already the
Yeah.
foundation, which is check that you have imposter syndrome, go through the tools to become more self aware, spend time on this, right? This
Mhm.
doesn't happen in a day or two. After you read it, you need to go back, like she said, and go back to chapter 2 and say, okay, what blind spots do I have? What are my strengths that I'm not aware of? A
Mhm.
blind spot doesn't necessarily mean something negative. It could be, I'm so good
Yeah.
at this, I have no idea. And once you have done that, then you get into the golden thread, or if you
Mhm.
prefer, the ikigai,
Mhm.
and you realize, with everything that you know about your past and who you are now, you realize, if I went into this area, or if I provided, the venture that includes these things about what I do best, I am very likely to succeed.
Mhm.
And that's your life purpose, really. And you'll see that that will also grow into something even bigger by the time we get to chapter 7.
Yeah.
So those three get you to a place where you know a lot more about you and what you're meant to be. Now you start paying attention to what's happening around you.
Mhm.
This is the chapter about life signposts.
Mhm.
So recognizing life signposts. Now, this sounds like woo woo, but it's not, because this is neuroscience.
Yeah.
So a life signpost is an event that happens, or an observation you make about something, or a synchronicity, or a coincidence
Mhm.
that you would normally have dismissed. But now that you are aware of all of this thing, that you don't have imposter, that, or you have it, and you manage it, that you know yourself very well, that you know what you're about, right? You know
Mhm.
what you're looking at for life. Now that you've done all this, life is going to look different for you, because your reticular activating system, which is the part of your brain at the top of your stem, the spinal cord,
Mhm.
all it does is it takes all the signals you're getting in from the world, and it's sending what matters to your prefrontal cortex. So now that you've done this work, you have reprogrammed the RAS, the reticular activating system, to direct you to those things that matter,
Yeah.
to those things that relate to your life purpose, to those things that are the most aligned with your strength. You have realigned your perceived reality to what matters to you.
Mm.
So that's what life signpost is. It's not like all of a sudden life or the universe says, oh, Arvid has changed. Now I'm going to give him this more stuff.
Yeah.
No,
No.
no, it was always there.
Mm.
But now you have trained, you programmed your mind to look for it.
Mm.
You know, like the typical example of you want to buy a red car and all of a sudden you see red cars everywhere.
Mm.
They didn't
Yeah.
show up because you made that decision. They were always there.
Yeah.
But now you trained your reticular activating system to look for red cars because it knows that red car is important for you now,
So you
because you
help,
decided, I want to buy one.
so you basically subconsciously or something help yourself to look for what makes you better.
Exactly. You've aligned the value that you have inside of you and the knowledge to what you want.
Okay, this sounds amazing. So, doctor, where do I start?
Chapter 1.
Mm.
You asked me for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
next step. The next step, maybe we can talk about
Mm.
the decision making.
Mm. Yeah.
Once you start paying attention to signposts, which
Yeah.
is these coincidences that you had previously ignored, there will be a time where you need to decide.
Mm.
What you're doing today may not be aligned with the life purpose or who you are at your best, and yet it's bringing you your substance, your money. It's bringing you what you pay your
Yeah.
rent with, what you take care of your life, your family, your dogs, your life in general, right? Your needs. So then you need to make a decision. Do I stop what I'm doing and do this thing instead, or do I keep doing what I'm doing and I start growing this thing on the side, or do I just wait until a certain point, well defined, and then I kick into this new thing, this new task, this new activity, whatever it is, poetry, music, tinkering, uh, whatever, DIY, whatever it is you want to do that came up through a golden thread, is now the question: how do I bring this up into my life? And at this point, you need to make tough decisions sometimes.
Mm.
And these tough decisions, by the way, are aided because now you don't have imposter syndrome. You're clear.
Yeah.
You have better self-awareness. You'll make better decisions no matter what. But I'm saying through my experience, through my life, that I also needed to seek help from mentors, a coach, financial, some of the best,
Mm.
legal, some of the best, brokers for moving to a different country. What kind of license do I get? I surrounded myself on purpose with people who are really good at what they do, and they gave me the right advice and guidance so I can make this tough decision the best I can. For me, my story was I saved up about 2 years worth of my expenses, and I made sure the retirement money was in a certain risk area. I moved the risk area from aggressive to a bit less, because I'm retiring per the U.S. I'm retiring in 2.5 years, so I did a calculation, a very well thought out. I checked with financial advisor, and I did a calculation that made sense.
Mm.
And my financial advisor said, okay, if you stop now, based on everything, you have enough savings for the next 2 years.
Mm.
And then hopefully you will start raising in those 2 years your salary to maybe 50% of where you are. And that will bridge you to the retirement. And then you'll start getting this money from your 401k, RA, etc. So that is part of chapter 5. I'm
Yeah.
saying this is so important that even if you know what your life purpose is,
Mm.
if you don't have a solution, and here I'm talking to analysts and
Yeah.
engineers and project managers, make that decision very carefully and use the best help you can get.
Mm.
Do not go cheap on the help you get. Get the best help you can get. It will pay off big time. And then, of course, I'm a coach. I had a coach, and I would be remiss to not say that without my coach, and I explained the
Mm.
examples of how she helped me, I would not be where I am today. So I strongly encourage people when they get to chapter 5 to start thinking about the value of having a coach,
Yeah, but
as well as multiple, not just one, multiple mentors.
because getting help, that's underrated. It's like if you are a professional footballer, you have several football coaches. The better you are, the more coaches you have. There are people helping you with nutrition, people helping you to sleep, and if you're a musician, if, yeah.
Mental.
So basically, the better you get at something, the more you realize how important it is to
Yes,
get good help. You cannot,
absolutely.
you will not win alone. You can be and have the best talent in anything, anytime, anywhere. But if someone else gets more help, gets better help from better, literally from more people, they will probably, yeah, surpass.
Yeah, they will. They will, even though you're very
Yeah.
good, but you did not seek the help that they sought.
So someone said effort beats talent every day. Culture beats talent. Yeah.
Correct.
Um. So, well, it doesn't sound too hard to start. It's basically start to read the book and kind of get going from there. Do you have any last thoughts, ideas, and anything you would like to share with people?
Yes. As a coach, I'm an executive coach. I
Mm.
coach very successful people, and I don't coach them to be more successful. I coach them so they know themselves better, so that they realize what really is their inner strength that they need to tap into. It could be switching.
Mm.
Some people I coach, they decide, oh my gosh, I really need to take care of this first. So as a coach, I would say that every one of your audience,
Mm.
I if I were to coach him, I would look at them as an individual with a huge diamond inside of them, a huge precious stone with incredible energies,
Mm.
shining, like trying to do what it's meant to be doing. But imagine that throughout the years we have just covered that with mud or with stuff that doesn't let that light come out. And that's a metaphor for how powerful and talented you are inside in
Mm.
things that you may not be aware of. And even if you are good at one thing, it may be overshadowing something else that is hidden that you haven't seen. But because everything worked out well, you have the right salary, you have the right wife, you have the right husband, you have the right children, the family, the neighborhood, the zip code, as they say. You don't look for more, but there is more. There's always more. That's what I would leave your audience with.
I'm gonna call this episode "Uncovering Your Inner Diamond."
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful.
Um.
I could have called the book that.
Yeah. No. I think this is good. Thank you so much, Dr. Hatim, for your
My pleasure.
time and
My pleasure.
for you sharing your knowledge with
Thank
us.
you.
So have a great day.
Thank you. And just a reminder, you can find this on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Kobo. It's available everywhere where you normally buy your books.
We will put a link to
Oh, and
it
I'm
in the show.
self-narrating the
Yeah.
audiobook,
Yeah.
and it should come out by the end of June.
Awesome.
So on Audible. And it
Awesome.
will be narrated with my voice, which a lot of people have asked me to do that.
Yeah, but that's great. That's great. As I said, we're gonna put a link to the book
Yes,
in
yes,
in the
please.
show, so
Thank
everyone
you.
can find it.
Thank you, Arvid. This was marvelous.
Thank you so much.